everybody in the galaxy. Welcome back to Planet Earth, where it's Tape Tuesday. Oh yeah, and guess what time it is where I'm at? It's 4:14. And you know what that means? I got a Tascam 414. Waiting to play some freaky tape loops for ya. Yeah. Let me know if you had fun last night on Mono Synth Monday. We were running my 303, making a lot of fun patterns. Check it out, I got 7 episodes of Mono Synth Monday if you like yourself some acid house music and some 303 sounds. We're going to get into some tape magic today. But first, like I usually do, I'm going to play you a song. This song is by me, Electric Archaic. It's called World Lord, and it features a tape echo. It's a 3-head tape machine, and you can do a lot of cool things with a 3-head tape machine. They're pretty rare. But yeah, let's get in here. Let's get into this. This is World Lord. We're going to be making some tape loops today. I'm going to show you a couple different ways to do it. Oh yeah, look at all these goodies I got set up for you. yeah, shout outs to everyone in the chat. Hope you're all having a great day today. Yeah, the sun is shining. I hope everyone's got their vitamin D the natural way. Do you have flowers popping up where you are? I know I do. And they're white, they're yellow, they're purple, they're all sorts of colors. And that's the original color therapy, if you ask me. It's important for your brain. We got Sin Sin in the chat asking if this is an AI channel. Absolutely not. I don't think that there's anything AI here. This is real human being, real analog cassette tape, music magic, baby. But I guess you have to ask these days. Weird times. That was World Lord by Electric Archaic. Hope you like that song. It is out on all. That's for my Ease show. That's Electric Archaic's Soundscape Expeditions. It features this tape here. This is Electrified Rain, also by yours truly. Let's give it a play. It's like the kind of futuristic cyberpunk vibe. Got to just switch these over to the safe mode and the tape mode. Check it out. Yeah. Okay. Now that we got some background soundscapes, we can get into tape looping. Wow, I haven't shown you on my channel yet how to make a tape loop. Last week I showed you how to record a tape loop, and that was a lot of fun. You can always check back on my previous episodes. They're all there waiting for ya. Well. So let me talk about cassette tapes just a little bit here. It's an old format, it's analog, and it's magnetic tape, which is really cool because you're actually charging the particles on these tapes magnetically with the sound. It's not digital at all, and you know, that's really cool. And for the longest time, that's all we had here on planet Earth. Well, cassette tapes and vinyl. Cassette tapes are kind of like the understated little brother or little sister of vinyl. They're both an analog format, but they work very differently. So, let me show you here what you need in order to make a tape loop. These are some tapes that I picked up at my local thrift shop. It's a good place to look for old tape machines or old synthesizers, anything, you know. If you're creative, you can usually find something there that'll suit your fancy. This tape, it's got a beautiful color to it. But those of you who know, you know that this is not suitable for making a tape loop. And why is that? Because it's been fused together. This one looks a lot like that tape, but if you flip it around, you'll see it's got screws in it. That's step one. Find yourself a tape with screws so that you can open it up. You're going to need that. These tapes are useful, however. You can record over them and make yourself like a long soundscape tape, kind of like the one I'm playing in the background here. But we're not talking about long boy tapes right now. We're talking about tape loops, and I have all the tools I need here to make a fresh tape loop. Let me clean some of this up really quick, and we'll get into making a tape loop. These are some of my stickers here. You'll find a link in the description to this one here. If you like that, if you like stickers, you can grab them up from me, Electric Archaic, on Etsy. I have been known to throw in a lot of extra fun and freaky stickers. I really appreciate all your support. It's what makes the world go round, yeah. So, yeah, I got myself a razor here. Probably not going to use that, but some people prefer that. I got some scissors. We're going to need those in a minute. I have a brand new tape. I'm going to show you... I was thinking about making a tape loop out of a brand new tape. What do you think of that? And got some micro cassettes. I just wanted to show you these today. I plan on doing some fun things with these in the future, but for today, we're going to keep it cassette. Okay, let me get a good view here. Like usual, it's Tape Tuesday. I got my VHS camera going, my camcorder. But, you know, we're not talking about VHS tapes. Not quite yet. I will do that also in the future. So give me a like and subscribe. I'm going to be here all year and lots of years to come doing freaky analog music stuff. Yeah. Okay. So you're going to need yourself a screwdriver. Get yourself the right size screwdriver. With this, it doesn't matter so much. I was opening up my 606 on Workshop Wednesday last week. Ooh, I didn't have the right size screwdriver, and that was kind of scary. So, first things first. Unscrew the tape. Yep. And you don't want to lose these. You might not need to use all of them, but you certainly don't want to lose them. I'm going to use a cassette tape case to store these in today. There's about 5 screws on a normal cassette tape. And here's the big reveal. Once you get all of your screws off, you just carefully open it up. Now these things, they have these little, I don't know what this is called. I'd call it a slip mat, but it's not a turntable. But it's something similar like that. It kind of keeps everything sliding around nice and easy. Next step, carefully, because you don't want a cassette tape to unspool all over the place. I remember driving down the freeway in the 90s. Well, it wasn't me. I was a kid. Driving with my dad down the freeway in the 90s, and you would see these unraveled spools of cassette tape all over the freeway. Weird. I haven't seen that for at least 20 years, I think. Okay. So in this case, I'm going to get my scissors out. And I'm going to free these reels from this old tape. I like to save the tape because it is useful, and sometimes, you know, there's some fun stuff on these. I actually have a giant box of these just waiting for something, I guess. I don't know. Maybe waiting for the future. They do make cassette tapes still. It's not like they used to. I'm just gonna get a little piece of Scotch tape here, and you just make sure it's tight, and you just tape it down. That way it's kind of free to just be stored. Bye! Okay, we're gonna get this other slip mat out. I'm gonna call them slip mats. If you know what they're called in the chat, let me know, but it's not that big of a deal now, is it? Okay, so the anatomy of a cassette tape. You have some of these wheels here, and there's a little metal pin that holds that wheel in. You're going to want to make sure you don't lose any of that stuff. there's this little metal. I'm not sure what any of this stuff is called. And then you got the kind of the little felt tip as well. You want to make sure that all of that stuff stays with the tape. Okay, now that I got this reel freed up, you might be able to see, I know I like to use analog video camcorders. There's this little piece of tape in there. A lot of the times, and these are different depending on the tapes that you have, but you can take this little plastic piece out right here, and you want to get rid of that little piece of tape. Sometimes this is a bit loose, like in this case. It's gonna fall right through. If that's the case, you can put this piece of tape back. Well, this is tape leader, the little clear piece of tape. It leads right in front of the tape. Oh man, having a little tough time with that. Let me see. It reminds me of Bill Alexander, my favorite painter. Now I show you how not to do it. But we were getting into the anatomy of the tape there. I'm gonna just force that back in. Okay, so what you can do is, now these are crafting scissors. They're really good. They're very sharp and very precise. What you can do is kind of slice the tape leader. You can cut it as well, but you kind of want this to be as smooth as it can be so it doesn't affect the tape very much. There we go. I got a good one there. So that's nice and smooth on that side. And it will smooth off this side here. Come on, come on. Drop the other shoe. Drop the other tape leader, my friend. Ah, man. See, yeah, that's not exactly perfect, but what is? Anyway, okay. Woo, we got our little reel there. And we'll put that back in the tape. I got a little piece of that leader in there. Let's get that out. Okay. So, what you're going to need next, and in a lot of cases, you can use this. I personally don't use this because I have like 10,000 tapes. And I like to use a higher quality tape. This here, you can see it's a ferric tape, and that means like a ferrous metal, which is iron, ferric oxide, if you will. This is a high bias tape. I think they kind of make these out of chrome most of the time. It's a higher quality tape there. So I have myself a little happy tape dispenser. Get it? Oh, there's so many tape jokes and so many tape puns. So you don't want it to spool back in there. As you can see, I've cut this tape. Oh, right. And now tape is a very fragile thing. And I'm doing my ultimate best here. Okay, so you got to measure this out. There is a precise measurement, but, you know, that's not that much fun. We're going to fire right in and just try to wing it here. But if you just grab yourself out some tape, and you got to keep track of the right side. Usually the right side is the shiny side, and it'll tend to loop around in the direction that it was stored. I'm just gonna cut some off right here, and be careful not to lose that tape in the middle of it. And I'll just make sure that that is secure for the future, which it is not. Oh boy. Yeah, it's a balancing act. Welcome to my circus, everybody. Whoa. I think what I'm gonna do is move my microphone a little bit so I can get a little bit more comfy here. Kind of had it in the middle of everything, and I need to be a bit more focused. Sorry about the noise there. Welcome to my janky cassette studio. Here we go. It's Tape Tuesday. I'm sure glad to have you here. Definitely give me a like and subscribe. We're going to make this work. And then, once we have ourselves a happy tape loop, we're going to record some sounds onto it. Okay. So, yeah, I hope everyone can see what's going on pretty good here. There is a measurement, and I can't remember if it's about like 18 centimeters or something like that, but you don't always need to measure these things. There's numerous ways to make a tape loop. I'm going to make kind of this standard one here, and I have one right here just to show you. I kind of call this like the tank tread style. I have made them really small here. I've seen a lot of people put a bunch of like cap stands in here, and they weave the tape in and out to get a longer loop. But this is generally the one you're going to see most commonly. All right, so you don't want it to be too tight. That it will break when you when you put it in a cassette machine and the playhead goes up. It'll snap it. Okay, so hopefully you can see that there. Maybe I'll zoom in for you a little bit. Yeah, I've never been on live television before. I've never made a tape loop live on television before. Okay, cool. So, this is going to be, like I said, a little bit janky. You do want to be as precise and as careful with this as you can be. So I'm just kind of looking where the tape ends on the one side and here. And I'm going to say, I'll give it a little bit of slack because, again, it's better if it's loose. If it's too tight, it's going to break. And then your tape loop will be on the fritz, and that's no fun. I have some of this here. I'm not sponsored by these guys, but it's Splice It. That's where I got this. I wish I could offer some of this myself, but it's really handy because it's the exact width of a cassette tape. I like this stuff, and if I decide we'll make another tape loop, I'll use it. I do want to make a nice tape loop for you guys, but maybe we'll save it for next week. I'm not sure. Let me know in the chat what you think. Okay. Chances are you will have some of this tape, though. So we're going to use that because I'm not going to show you all this fancy stuff when chances are you're just going to want to make yourself a tape loop the old school way. Yeah. I'm not sure if it was the Beatles that kind of discovered this, but I know they did have a lot of tape loops on some of their later, more psychedelic albums. Okay, you got yourself your tape. You're gonna wrap it around, and it will kind of stick to your fingers a little bit. So you want to use that. That's like the power of the tape. Okay, you want to line it up so it's basically perfectly parallel. If you can. Oh, I'm actually doing this backwards. Okay. Now I show you how not to do it. You want to flip it around because we're going to tape the back of the tape. Okay? So, being careful. No wrinkles, no pressure. And it's sometimes okay if there's some overlap. I didn't cut this exactly perfect, so... But that's pretty good. So you line it up nice and even here. And then you cut yourself what you think is about the size or the width of the tape itself with some Scotch tape, okay? And you just go ahead carefully. Because if you do it wrong, you're going to have to start over. And that is a bit wider than the cassette tape. And the splice isn't exactly perfect. You can get really good at this. I recommend doing it, in like batches of 10 or 20. I'm just going to try to trim off some of this extra tape, but I have a whole box of these too that are pretty well done. So I can show you how those sound if this happens to end up sounding pretty janky. Once again, welcome to my janky cassette tape studio. All right, then. I think that'll do. Not sure how in focus that is for you, but I could try to get you a closer view. Try this. Anyways, all right. So if you did everything right, and like I said, there is a proper measurement for this. Okay. Now remember when I flipped it around, you wanna again flip it around. Another thing is you want to make sure that it's an actual loop and not a Mobius loop. A Mobius loop means that there's a twist in it somewhere, and that doesn't feel so good, does it? Continuing on, you want to place your tape loop carefully back in to the cassette tape. Now, if you do this carefully enough, you won't have to fish any of those parts out of anywhere they might land. The tape is so light, it's like featherweight. Sometimes a handy dandy, let me see, a toothpick helps. You can use some tweezers, although I don't know if the magnetics of the metal of the tweezers you're using is gonna kind of add any sound to it or not. It's a delicate process, and that's just how it goes. Yep, see, it's not cooperating. Maybe I'll flip it around here. Oh boy. Okay. It's probably one of the reasons why I didn't make a tape loop on the first episode of Tape Tuesday. But I thought I had to show you myself here. Oh man, it's a really sticky tape. Yeah, this is the part that is not fun about making a tape loop is getting it safely back in to the cassette. Not sure if like gloves would help this or not, but okay. Ooh, I think I got it, and I'm just gonna very carefully, no pressure. Okay, so then you put your reel back in, and I think that's a good little tape loop here. It's a good size, is what I mean. All right, okay. We got Kiera in the chat. Shout outs to Kiera. She's saying freaky cassettes. That's an old time joke that we have. Yes, babes, it's freaky cassettes. So you got to be careful with this as well. You don't want the tape to get snagged. See, these are like little teeth here. And if you watch my Mono Synth Monday shows, I talk about the 303 Sawtooth and Square Wave, and I make a joke because, I pull inspiration from the Joker every now and then. I call it Square Tooth quite a lot. I promise, I know what it's actually called, but hey, we got some square teeth today. I love it. You got to roll with these things because in time, they will make sense. Okay, I'm just trying to be extra careful here that I don't pinch that tape. I do have a little bit of oh no. A little bit scary, but if you kind of, come on. Yeah, it's not the happiest in there. Come on, please work. I don't want to. Okay, I got it. All right. Oh, ooh. We got ourselves a happy tape loop, as far as I can tell. Now this reel doesn't actually do anything But what it does do is it kind of acts like a capstan. And what a capstan is, I guess I could try to show you here. I have this is like a standard cassette player here. The capstan is this little metal, it's like a metal cylinder in there. And in this case, it's what kind of rolls the tape across the head. And you have like the take-up reel and these other parts. Cassette tape players, they're all over the place. It's what I first got into way back in 2020. Well, I mean, I've been making music for quite a long time, but this is kind of like the beginning of my rediscovery of making music and getting into more analog, tangible formats, which I think is really good for you. It's fine making music in the box digitally, but it's just way more fun when you have physical objects to work with. Knobs, tapes, circuit boards. You know me, I fancy myself a janky electronics engineer. Yeah, last week on Wednesday, it was Workshop Wednesday, I opened up my 606 because, it's on the fritz. And I quickly found out that maybe I'm a little bit too far in the deep end there because, these vintage drum machines from the 80s, they can present a lot of problems. One of those being battery acid corrosion. Another one being just, I guess, rust from humidity. Another one, of course, the dreaded vented capacitor or leaking capacitor. Oh boy, but we don't have to worry about that today because we're doing some simple stuff. Making tape loops. Now what you can also do is get yourself one of those, what do they call them? Magic erasers. And you can scrape this stuff off here. Sweet! Look at that! My first tape loop on a Tape Tuesday. Let's switch back over to my Tascam 414. Wait a second, though. There's one more step I got to show you. So if you get these pre-recorded tapes, they have these holes in the top there. And if you look at this, where'd this one go? When I open this up, this is it's a blank tape for you to record your media on it. They have these little plastic tabs built in there that you can pop out, kind of like on the top of your soda cup or whatever. You just boink. All right. Should we record some sounds on this? I think we should. Let's get back over here into the Tascam 414. Now, I will let you know that I have an OB6. It's just right there, out of frame. Right there. We're going to be using the OB6 today to record some cool sounds on this tape loop. All right. So give me a like and subscribe if you enjoyed that. That's my little janky tutorial of how to make a tape loop. It's not as janky as trying to repair a 606 or a 303, but, you got to try these things just as long as you know how to be careful and just try not to make things worse than they already are. That's really key to life. You don't want to make things worse than they already are. Sweet. Let me get this set up here just a little bit better, and we'll record some sweet sounds. All right. I'm just going to fade this out. That's Electrified Rain by Electric Archaic. It's currently unreleased. It'll probably be out sometime this year. But it's cool to play it on the Tascam because, let me just show you really quick. This is a Walkman style tape, and I have modified my Tascam to play at a lower speed. Usually these play at a faster speed because it's more of a studio grade thing. So with this, I can play you the 2 tracks in reverse. What do you think of that? Ooh. Freaky cassettes. Here we go. Okay. Let me show you. Well, let's hear it, okay? Let's just hear the tape first, because I know I didn't do a perfect job trying to run a show here, okay? But you really want to be as precise as possible. I have someone in the chat saying using an X-Acto knife to trim the Scotch tape. Great idea. Anything you can do to make your productions better, I recommend that. Got to have the right tools. Okay, let's just give a listen here to all 4 tracks. As you know, this is blank Type 2 tape. So there won't be any sounds on it that we have to record over. Another thing that you got to do, let me just say this before we get started so I don't have to pull the tape out. Have a little piece of, it's a double piece of Scotch tape. And what you want to do is cover up the electromagnet, because that magnet, well, gosh, I might be getting ahead of myself. If you're using the tape that came from the tape, you do want to clear all 4 tracks. And if you don't have a Tascam, you can do that with the Walkman. You just have to flip it over, right? But again, if you don't have a Tascam, you can't play all 4 tracks. You're only going to be recording 2 at a time anyway. All right. I try to be try to give you all my trade secrets here. I do it for the love. Okay, so yeah, let's have a listen here. So what this does, the tape on the electromagnet, it stops that electromagnet from clearing the tape as it loops back around onto itself. So you might be able to hear and see the levels jump up here. Oh no, looks like it might be getting a little bit stuck. Yeah, that's not good. You know, I did it kind of janky, but yeah, it's getting, that little piece of tape is getting stuck on the capstan. Well, assuming you did it the correct way, you'll have yourself a happy tape loop. I called that one happy before I should have. Luckily, I have a whole box of tape loops here that I made, and they're just waiting for ya. I apologize about that. Oh, I didn't get into this thing here. Wow. So you got to cover this up, and depending on which side it is, you might as well just cover up both of them. I like to use myself a washi tape for that. But you can use any kind of a tape. Scotch tape, masking tape works good. Okay. Yeah, see, this one is a lot better because I am using, on this tape loop in particular, I am using the correct size of cassette tape. And I would almost say that if you're using a Scotch tape, it might be better, although I'm probably going to get some flack for this. It might be better for the Scotch tape to be slightly less wide compared to the width of the cassette tape. But again, I wish I could offer some of this to you guys, but it's kind of rare. I get it from Splice It, and it is the perfect width for making cassette tape loops. Okay, so imagining that this tape is this tape, let's just fire right in and continue. So you'll probably hear the splice a little bit. A lot of times that records over and you don't have to worry about it as you move forward. Like I said, I got my OB6 here, out of frame, and I'm going to switch this over into tape mode so we can hear this. But I think I will do one track at a time, because the fun about this machine, this Tascam 414, is that you can play the different tracks. And for those of you who don't know, tapes have, well, a normal cassette tape has 4 tracks. And on a Walkman, it's going to play 2 of those tracks. And then when you flip the tape, it plays the reverse tracks. Okay. We got the OB6 going. What I want to do is make sure there's a nice healthy level here. And just hit record when I'm ready. Now there's this thing called sound on sound, and that's another reason why you want to cover up your electromagnet. I definitely recommend that anyway, because you don't want it. It will, as you can see, here's the electromagnet that clears the tape before it plays and or records the tape. So if you don't cover that up and you're not going for sound on sound, you will have a gap this big in your loop of silence or whatever was there before. Okay, so let's see what we can make here. So I press record. Can do a little bit of sound on sound. And let's play that back. See how it sounds. So it's kind of a lo-fi quality. You heard the synth kind of going right through the Tascam. And now you're hearing it on cassette tape. I think that sounds pretty good. Another cool thing about these Tascams is it has a pitch control, which allows you to drop the pitch. And what it's doing is actually slowing the tape speed. It's not like warping it or anything. And this will do nicely in my SOUNDSCAPE show. It kind of sounds like a helicopter of sorts. I go for a lot of like flying cars, spaceship sounds, Space Invader sounds. All right, let's get into this track 2 right here. Set it up like the last one. And we'll pick a different note. So I'll play this, and then we're going to record onto track 2. I'm just using the OB6 left and right here, and I'll swap this over in preparation for track 3. So let's find a note on this synthesizer that is complementary to this. You don't have to always have them complementary. You can record a chord on your synthesizer here and a different chord, and you can play the chords. But I kind of like more of the drone aspect. Let's see, I gotta flip this down to the mic line. I can barely hear that. Let's give it a little bit more level. Whoop, sorry about that clip. Not sure why that's clipping. I apologize. Oh boy. Seems like I kind of have like a scratchy pots here. Maybe it's just this one chord. I'm not sure. We'll just replace it with this one. Maybe my Tascam is on the fritz. Oh no, my vintage gear. It's always on the fritz. Not sure why that's not working for me. Dang it. That's the fun of this show. You never know how it's gonna go. Yeah, I'm not getting any level from that. Maybe got some scratchy pots. It's just straight up not working. Yeah, you worked last week. What's the problem, my friend? Strange. Let me do a quick test here and see if all is well. Oh, wait a minute. That was, yeah. The Tascam's weird because it has the 1/4 inch input for track 1 is right here, and then for track 2 it's right there. So I thought it was track 2. I don't know. It gets weird. There we go. Still sounding a little bit crunchy. Oh, dang it. Okay. What is going on? Once again, I apologize for that. Okay. I think we're rolling good now. Let's try this out. So I'm going to tune the tape to the synthesizer. And just fire right in with a record of that. Now, if you don't really want to do sound on sound, you kind of want to gauge the length of the loop, and sometimes you can use these to see where the splice is. And by the time you've recorded all 4 tracks, you'll have yourself a happy tape loop. All right, now let's just go right into track 3. I'm going to switch up the patch here. Maybe it's my OB6 that's on the fritz. Yeah, because that is not... Oh. It was loud enough. Maybe you got to pick these levels up a bit higher. Okay, so as you can hear, we got these 2 tracks droning right here. And remember, don't forget, it's a tape loop. This will just go on and on and on and on and on, my friend. Okay. Sorry. Oh my gosh. I am really sorry about that. Jeez. Okay, that sounds better. Let's hear how that one sounds now. Do you hear that crunchy lo-fi cassette tape sound? I just love it. See, now you're making yourself a soundtrack, and you can compete with the best of them and make yourself a cinematic film score with just a couple of tape loops and some freaky analog machines from the 80s and 90s. All right, now I wanted to do a different note there on this track. Switch over the input. You gotta get... Let's see, I can't... Oh man, my machines today. It's very strange, very strange. Just can't hear anything. Thought I had it all good to go. What the heck? Oh well. My OB6 is on the fritz. It's probably mad at me because I've neglected it for a year or so. It's just been in the case. Just in case. Maybe I'll just switch the patch here and see if that helps at all. Boy. Oh, yeah, see, when there's this many variables and you're doing a live stream, man, it's really hard to figure things out as quick as you need to. It's not going to play your synth if it's on tape mode, and this is like a famous mistake that I make. I talk about the famous mistakes I make on the 303 on my Mono Synth Monday show. Thanks for sticking around while I figure out these problems. Okay. It should work now. There we go. Kind of wanted to use that same patch, but now I've lost it. Yeah, so... go for something a bit more low. As usual, you want to kind of test that note with the other ones, make sure it will play friendly, unless you're trying to, you know, play these as different chords or different notes in a phrase. I kind of like that one right there. And we're going to really saturate the tape on this one, I think. Just as I made that mistake of not knowing why I couldn't hear my synthesizer, you do want to make sure you're not recording over stuff that you've previously already, you know, perfected. Okay, let's fire in with this fourth track. And that's some aftertouch there, that raspy sound. Whoa, that was a lot of sound on sound. Let's hear how it sounds, my friends. That is very nice. There's a bit of a break in the audio there, and that just might be because the tape isn't perfectly aligned. So there might be a slight gap there. But, you know, these things kind of give character with these drones. Now, if you add some reverb and some echo, it'll get really spaced out. But a lot of times when I'm demonstrating for you, I don't want to cloud your vision with a lot of reverb. I want you to be able to hear how it is, nice and crisp. That sounds mighty fine to me. I will be featuring a lot of my tape loops in my Ease show. Once again, there's a link in the description to episode 1. That's Ease, Electric Archaic SOUNDSCAPE Expeditions. So now that you have yourself a happy tape loop that's droning, and you fumbled through all of those mistakes and landed on your feet, you can play the different tracks together. If you joined me last week, you know I have a couple of tape loops that have drum machine beats on them, and it's a little tricky to line those up. Maybe I'll show you how to do that next week. Essentially, you gotta sync up your drum machine's BPM to the length of the tape loop, and then you can have yourself a beat on a tape loop, and you can pull out the kick drum and add the snare and whatnot. I'm going to ask once again, because it's free for me, give me a like and subscribe if you're enjoying Tape Tuesday tonight. Or today, wherever you happen to be on this beautiful planet Earth of ours. All right. Let me show you another one of my trade secrets. Giving you kind of a Blade Runner sound here, using this pitch wheel. So, as some of you may know, in Blade Runner, they're using a C80. It's Vangelis. He's using a CS80 Yamaha, and it has this pitch control, this bar, and that's where he gets those sci-fi sounds from. You can kind of do it here. That is a flying car. It's a flying car. I invented flying cars here. You saw it here first. You better call George Jetson up. His car is flying itself. Oh no. So it's really cool because you can make all sorts of sound effects, cinematic film score, sounds. It's really infinite what you can create. And I'm here to encourage you to create something. Whether you can get yourself a Tascam 414 or not, you can usually find some kind of a tape cassette machine. I like this one because it looks like a 303. And if you don't know what a 303 is, I'll show you. Whoa, here we go. It's Mono Synth Tuesday. Just kidding. It's Tape Tuesday. That's a 303. And it's my favorite machine, and it's my favorite sound. If you're interested in 303 sounds and acid house, acid techno music, check out my other videos. They're in a playlist near ya called Mono Synth Monday. Well. I like that loop a lot. Now let me show you another trick that I have here. Like I mentioned earlier, I have modified my Tascam to run at normal, I like to call it Walkman style or Walkman speed. I'm not sure if you can see this back here, but let me clear up the video. So I got two jumper cables back here, and it's making a circuit with the motor, and I can't tell you exactly what it is. I will maybe open this up one of these weeks to show you, so make sure you're subscribed for that. Again, I asked because it's free. I'm going to unplug these, and you will rapidly hear this tape speed up to Tascam speed. And that's kind of cool because we recorded it at a lower speed, and now we get this higher range. Now, the reason why the Tascam runs faster than your normal Walkman is because using cassette tapes in a studio environment, you get a lot more quality because, as you can imagine, there's more tape recording every millisecond of sound. If that makes sense to you, then you're a mad scientist like me, and you're ready to let it slide. Yeah, that really sounds like a helicopter there. I'm gonna have a lot of fun with that. Another cool thing you can do with the pitch wheel is Doppler effect. I'm going to drop this back down to the Walkman speed because, you know, there's whole genres based off of pitching down tapes. Hashtag Vaporwave, my friends. All right, maybe we've heard enough of that one. That's going to be a nice tape for my ease show. The self-promotion never stops, does it? Let's do a quick review of the two tape loops we made last week on Tape Tuesday. Yeah, I used the OB6 for those as well. It wasn't on the fritz like it was today, but let's play around a bit. Ooh. So my ease show, let me talk about that for just a second. I have two of these Tascams, and I put a DJ mixer in between both of them, and I DJ cassette tapes. And it's cool because unlike DJing with 2C DJs where you get just 2 tracks, you get 4 tracks. And then if you add in effects, you're getting more tracks. And I really like that format. So you can imagine if I was playing some rainy sounds in there, it kind of sound like you're in a utopian street cafe in the future. Try to shy away from the dystopian future because it's all about the love. But there is something about that crazy sci-fi sound. Don't you just feel like you're in 1987 right now? Or 2087? Or on another planet? Let's hear this other tape loop. That definitely feels like you're on the side of the road in the future. But I want to talk to you about street cafes from the past. As you know, or you may know, if you've been here before, I grew up in my dad's recording studio, and we used a lot of tape back then in the 90s. We were always making demos of our songs, and we recorded not on a Tascam, although he did do at some point in time. I don't remember that. We were using 8-at tape, which is a big VHS tape, and it's digital. That's really cool. Those things are kind of hard to get working here, but I want to play you a song of his. It's called Street Cafe by J.J. Huggins. It's on the Raven album. It's out on all streaming platforms. Give it a listen. Street Cafe.
Walking around on a lazy day when I looked inside the street cafe. Turned around, what did I see? Two young lovers looking back at me. I think I've got the blues. So I turned around and closed my eyes. Turned around again and I realized that one young lover was hiding her face. Guess I found your secret place. Now I've got the blues. Now my grass won't grow and my bird won't sing. I'm not up for anything but sitting around smoking dope. Guess I gave you too much road. Now I got the blues. Well, you had to go burn one more trip, but you know I think it's so ironic, 'cause it seems like yesterday I met you in Street Cafe. Now I got the blues. Yeah. Now my grass won't grow and my bird won't sing. I'm not up for anything, no. Every day's just another toke. You know I got the blues and that's no joke. Whoa. Yeah. Now I've got the blues. Yeah. Now I've got the blues.
That's J.J. Huggins, Street Cafe. Like I said before, that's out on all streaming platforms. Give it Give it a listen. He's got 2 great albums out. All right, what should we do now? Let's get you into that street cafe feeling again. Back from the past, welcome back to the future. So I got some more tape loops here. Here's one of the first tape loops I ever made. Can't remember what's on it. Maybe we should have a listen to that. I'm having a lot of fun here. Hope you guys are having fun too. This is Tape Tuesday. All right. Coming towards the end of the show, I think, but I got one more song for you, so hang in there for that. Let's hear this tape loop first. Oh, this is my favorite. It's so lovely. Yeah, it's like a nice break from the Skynet sounds from earlier. I like this tape too. I think this is from the late 70s. It's a very old SA C90, I guess they call it. I think the C means communicator. I'm not sure though. I wasn't alive back then, but I'm alive now, and I sure enjoy cassette tapes. I love it. Can't remember what synthesizer I used for this, but maybe it was a Korg. I'm not sure. And for those of you who were not here last week, I do want to show you a tape loop that's very short. You can see that there's really no tape in there, but it runs right around here. And this one, I think, has a beat on it. Let's play this one. All right. Some more dark sci-fi. Sounds like I'm playing this one in reverse. I'll flip that for you in a second. Speed it up a bit. Let's flip something. Yeah, so next week on Tape Tuesday, I'd like to try and show you guys how to make a beat tape loop. Because they're really cool. They're very handy, especially if you're doing tape DJing back and forth. You can have a drone on one of your machines. Actually, I've seen people use many different Walkmen and they mix them all together with bird sounds and rain sounds, and I really like that stuff. I want to do more of that. It's one of the reasons why I'm out here today making tape loops with all of you. Tape loops are great. Don't underestimate the power of a nice drone on just a normal tape. You know, it saves you all the trouble of cutting the tape and taping the tape and screwing the tape together and untogether again. Yeah. Well, I think I'm done for today. I think we did a good job. We made a tape loop. I mean, I know I didn't do the best job on the splice there, but give me a break. I'm running a live stream. Speaking of, give me a like and subscribe. It's free for me to ask, and it's free for you to do. And in good tape fashion, because you know you got to flip them, I'm going to play you a song from my album Funko Wunko. This song is called Flip Something. And today, I hope you've enjoyed. We've been flipping a lot of cassette tapes. That was Flip Something by Electric Archaic. I figure I'll play you one more song. This one's on cassette. This is another song by me. It's called Tiger Sky. I hope you've had a good time with me today on Tape Tuesday. I'm going to leave you with this one. But first, I want to say I love you all, and I love this planet. And I know you love this planet too. Thanks again. Give me a like and a subscribe. If you like the sounds that you're hearing now, you can check out the first episode of my Ease show. The link is in the description. I hope you enjoy that. Geez, I'm tempted to just let this go. But all good things must come to an end. And all cassette tapes come to a stop. Unless, of course, you've made yourself a tape loop. In that case, it should loop infinitely. Thanks again, everyone. I've had a lot of fun here today. Thanks for all your likes and subscribes. I will be preparing the next Ease show. But I can't tell you when it's going to come out because I don't know. What you're hearing now is the reverse of The Seas of Terra Vega. That's the intro track on my album Vega Starshine. It's a very special album to me. I put a lot of my heart and soul into making that. You can hear it on YouTube. It's right there on my channel. Or on all streaming platforms. Once again, I love you all, and I love this planet. Together we can make a better tomorrow. But it's also easy to make today a good one. I hope I've made your day a little bit better. I hope you've learned a couple of things or two. I'll see you next week for Tape Tuesday.